Hey guys, today we'll be looking at Mage AOE farming at Fenris, which you can start at level 14 and continue all the way until level 23. This farm is about 30,000 experience per hour, and Fenris Isle can be located in the Eastern Kingdoms in Silver Pine Forest here on the map. And I really like this farm because there aren't as many players compared to other areas. I found that the talents don't really matter, but for runes they do. You'll want to use Regeneration, Living Flame, and Living Bomb. And before we get into the farm, I want to give a quick demonstration of how the Regeneration rune works. When Regeneration is cast on yourself, you will apply Temporal Beacon, which will passively heal you for the arcane damage done to enemies. The healing is reduced by 50% on self and reduced by 80% for Arcane Explosion. Living Flame is fire and arcane and will be a majority of your healing. And as we can see here, since we have the Temporal Beacon from Regeneration on ourselves and we have Living Flame activated, every time Living Flame does damage, we are healing ourselves. And when you do a giant pull in combination with this, you can imagine just how much healing or self-healing that you'll be doing there. And something else that's really nice, even if you wand, you'll see that I start wanding here with this Temporal Beacon on me. The wand damage, since it's arcane, is healing me as well. So you can also get a greater magic wand for this. And this is the front of the keep at Fenris Isle, and for your pulls you can Living Bomb all mobs, and you might need to Arcane Explosion to reset their leash. And you can utilize these little grave fences. The mobs can't go over them, they have to go around them, so you can have a lot of fun with kiting the mobs back and forth. And while we have a moment of downtime, if your bags ever get full, if you're Alliance, you can go down south to Ambermill, as there's 2 vendors down there for you. And if you're Horde, you can go west to the Sepulcher. And here's another pull I like to do. You can use Living Bomb to tag all the mobs, and you'll want to Arcane Explosion to reset the leash, so they keep coming after you and they don't run back and evade to their original spots. And this tent is very nice because you can actually go between the tent here and the tree, and they'll run all the way around the perimeter of the tent. And sometimes when you check this spot, you may see that not all the mobs have spawned, but there are a few. So you can hop up on this lip and pull these mobs with Living Bomb, and they will run to the right to try to get up on that lip and run towards you. Then you can simply go out here and tag a few Murlocs as well for a pretty sizable pull. Again, you can Arcane Explosion to reset the leash, pop your Living Flame and Regeneration. Make sure all the mobs are inside the Living Flame damage, so you'll get your passive healing and kill any healing wards that spawn. And for another pull, you can run along the back side of this building, and there's another section to the right of the castle here. You can start by pulling the mob in the back, and there are going to be 2 in this building. You can then pull some of the mobs inside this building here, and there's usually going to be some patrolling along the way. And we'll see here I get a little unlucky with a brute spawning right on top of us, and it's nice since we still have the Temporal Beacon on us, we can do 1 damage, and we will be able to simultaneously damage the enemy and heal ourselves, so really highly recommend having an Arcane Wand for this.
I can't loot that.
And for the sake of demonstration, if you're ever in a hairy situation, you can evade out some mobs right here, just as long as they're not in your melee range. Any mobs not in your melee range will evade out like you see here. And you can, bandage or wait for your mana to replenish, and when you're in a good spot, you can go back out and continue your farm. I really do enjoy farming in this area. I found it to be a lot of fun. Again, there's not really much competition. I like hanging around inside the castle perimeter for the most part, as there's usually a good respawn timer, and as you can see, there's plenty of mobs to choose from. And I wanted to show this front area again for the purpose of utilizing the tree. Note, I probably should have done an Arcane Explosion a moment sooner because these two mobs are resetting, and if I had Arcane Explosion, they would not be evading and running away. But you can loop around the tree, and then they'll have to run all the way around the perimeter of the fence to get to you, and you can just Arcane Explosion them down with ease. And if you feel like a change of pace, you can go outside of the castle, as there's plenty of higher level mobs on the surrounding islands. The mobs on the surrounding islands are Murlocs and Lake Creepers. Something to note for the Murlocs, there's a lot of them and it's easy to overpull, so be careful of that. And keep the Oracles to a minimum, as they do have a Shock Blast, which if you pull too many can be fatal. And this is the island with the lake creepers. So as you can see, there's a good amount of them here and no competition. And if you play your cards right, you can get a pretty sizable pull. I did not play my cards right here. I probably should have Arcane Explosion a bit sooner for the one I pulled far away. As you can see, it does start to reset here. There it goes. So if you play your cards right, you'll be just fine. And these guys do root, so be aware of that. You want to make sure that you have your replenishment up and that they're all in Living Flame. And if you're ever in a pinch and you have the ability, you can blink out of there. As I mentioned at the top of the video, I really do like Fenris Isle for AoE farming for this level bracket. I know that there are some other spots to farm, but I found that those were always, contested with other players. And I really like Fenris Isle because, one, there's really not that many players to contest with, and two, there's just a lot of mobs to choose from. I went back to the city a few times to train abilities, but theoretically the runes do level up with you, so you could stay here for the entire duration without going back to a major city. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like, as it really helps me out a lot. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. I sometimes stream, so you can catch me live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, and those links are in the details of the video. Cheers!